Pokey, and we're going to give you a little bit of Trail Riding Etiquette 101 today. So just some basics. Trail riding can be a whole lot of fun when you're with your friends and your horse and your friends' horses, and getting to go out into nature and see some fun things. I mean, let's face it, that's why we all have horses, right? But for some riders and some horses, that whole experience can kind of cause some worry and some anxiety. So I think one thing to really remember starting out is to have a horse that you trust, and to trust your horse. Making sure that your horse looks to you for answers and for things that you may encounter out on the trail versus looking at other horses or other horses that might be behaving badly. For instance, barn sour horses that don't want to leave the barn, that get all high-strung and upset. You don't want your horse feeding off of that same energy. You want your horse to be calm and listening to you and listening to your cues. So I think that's really important. I think you always have to remember safety first. One good rule of thumb that I always try to go with is no matter which horse I'm on or no matter what group of people I'm riding with, always try to keep a horse length in between you and another rider. That way it keeps you and your horse safe and out of harm's way of a kick or a bite or something that could go down on the trail, and gives you a little extra time to stop if something were to happen. It's just kind of always a good rule of thumb. Another thing that I think is a good rule of thumb when you're riding with a lot of other people is to just always really be aware of your surroundings and be aware of what your horse is seeing. I think it's important to know your horse really well, to know your horse and what they tolerate, whether if another rider or horse is getting too close to them, what could possibly get them to act out. Make sure that you're aware of that, and make sure you're aware of what your horse is feeling and going through too. One thing that's important, I think, is to understand kind of within your area and your surroundings what you may be encountering, and maybe work with your horse at home on that before you hit the trails, whether it's oncoming traffic, if it's going to be things blowing in the wind like plastic bags, maybe bicycles going by, barking dogs, things like that are all things that you kind of want to work with your horse on getting them used to and getting them comfortable with before you go out and hit the trail in an area where you're not quite as safe as in the confines of your arena or your home. If you have a mare or a gelding that kicks, I think it's important to alert other riders to that. Whether you tie a red ribbon on a horse's tail that's a kicker so that other people are aware that they kick. If you have a stallion, maybe tie a yellow ribbon on their tail, let people know that he's a stallion. It's just always good to err on the side of safe. So that way you can enjoy your experience out on the trail, and so can your horse. So from Pokey and I to you, we hope you have a good time out on the trails. And remember, safety first.